All right, let's look at our first command here being our DCDiag command, okay? Now we looked in the previous video a bit of an introduction. Now you can access this by going into the command prompt or running the Active Directory module for PowerShell. As long as you run that command in an administrator window, you'll be able to get access to the same thing. So we're gonna right click and say run as administrator, and we're presented with our command prompt for AD, okay? Let's go ahead and run DCDiag and press enter. We'll let this do its thing. It's doing a few different checks. But DCDiag really is used to check the entire health of your AD, your domain controller, all right, and a whole bunch of other things. So you can do things such as checking the connectivity, advertising, so whether your domain controller is correctly reporting or not. You can do a whole bunch of stuff around net logons to check if there's appropriate login permissions to allow replication to proceed. There's other things in here as well. So going through here and checking this. Now this is installed by default. If you do have the AD tools installed on domain controller, you'll be able to go into here and run it. Now you can run it against a different domain controller or run it locally on the domain controller that you have got running right in here. So by running just that one command, essentially every command, every test has been run as a default rather than specifying a specific test. That's essentially what we've just done there. And you'll see that certain things say that they have passed, other things say that they have failed, okay? So let's just have a look through some of the stuff here, just sort of have a look through it. But we said advertising, your FRS events, you've got your net logons, and you'll see that it says whether if it's passed or failed. Okay, so here's starting a test on replication. So replication against DC01, recent replication attempt failed. Okay, so what's going on in here? So the replication generated an error. The remote system is not available. Okay, so that's potentially that my second DC, here it is, DC02, failed some way. So we don't understand why, but it just failed. So this is when you now have to go and troubleshoot your DC02. Perhaps troubleshoot your network connectivity between those two domain controllers, okay? So that is, for example, replication. You can see it's attempting several times here, and it's failing, it's failing, it's failing. All right, you've got some other checks that you can do around your DNS zones, your forest DNS zones. See these passed. Over here, one failed. So our system log, here we go. DCOM was unable to communicate with the computer at 8888 using any of the configuration protocols. Now 8888 was a DNS that we had set up just before pointing out to Google. So I wouldn't be surprised if this failed because this is not really relevant to my internal domain. You see that other things passed, right? So that's all good. Now you can go and run specific other parameters against this if you so choose to, against specific domain controllers. And then you can add skip commands to actually skip particular tests as you so choose to. A command that, for example, I would like to use would be DCDiag, and I just do a /test /DNS and actually test the DNS right in here. All right, so it's testing my DNS, done gathering initial information. Here it is, it's starting test connectivity against DC Serve 01. Right, starting DNS tests are running and not hung. Hey, that's a good sign. And then it just says, please wait a few minutes. And then it'll stick out a big chunk of text, essentially letting me know what has happened. All right, so let's just leave that to go through. Now, while that's running, let's just go ahead and open up another command prompt. Here's another command that I like to run. Now, if you've got a lot of domains on your network, a lot of, not domains, but domain controllers on your network, one that you may want to like to run. Now, do a lot of this stuff. I would just generally recommend do this out of hours, right? Don't be running these commands during business hours potentially, because it is going to be doing some stuff. Oh, look, some things have happened. We'll check that up. We'll check that over in a second. But one command that I could recommend running is a DCDiag /E. And what this is going to do is it's going to run the DCDiag across every event or every instance in my enterprise. All right, so across the whole lot. It will take a bit of time, but it is a good command. And you can see really at a snapshot the health of everything that's going on in your network. So check that one out, DCDiag /E as well. But again, recommend running some of these commands. Do it in a safe time because you could have blips, you could have little issues impacting the performance on a DC. So just be aware of that before running some of this stuff right here. Okay, let's see what happened here. So it's now run. If I just scroll up, so here it is, test DNS. You can sort of see what has happened. All right, so it's testing the server, DC01, it passed connectivity, it did not hang, and it tested past DNS. So it's done all of this stuff. My domain being redghost.com. Here is the result for my domain controller. Looks good. All right, so summary of the test results for the DNS server used by the above domain controller. So it's letting me know that that's what's happened. And it's failed in some instances. Okay, so the PTR record for this failed. Okay, so there's a few failures because it was not able to resolve certain things on DNS. That may be okay. And maybe these records no longer exist. Of course, the PTR record is you're looking at reverse lookups, you're looking at records around C names, around A names. So some stuff in here may not work correctly if you're not keeping up to date, if you're not keeping on track with your DNSs. Generally, DNS needs to be house kept and kept clean. So this is going to give you a bit of a snapshot on how your DNS looks, but it will take a bit of time. It'll do a check of all of your stuff, and then it'll stick out a report from there. Okay, now that's a brief overview on DCDiag to at least let you know that this command exists, and it's a command that I would highly recommend for you to be running on your domain controller. Run it every month just to make sure that things are running healthy. If you're having or experiencing weird glitches, weird performance on your network, especially around Active Directory, authentication, DNS, go into here and run your DCDiag commands.